I'm Cllr Cameron Geddes. I'm a local councillor in the London Borough of Barking and Dagenham, where I'm the local cabinet member for economic and social development.
What will you be discussing this evening?
I was going to run through three examples from personal experience of where we're not quite a United Kingdom from a working class and specifically a white working class background, and then try and give a flavour of some of the things we've been trying to do in Barking and Dagenham, some successfully and some less successfully. I think one of the things where we've struggled is sometimes to take the white working class community with us and get them to understand and accept the demographic changes, the substantial number of Asian and African families that have moved into Barking and Dagenham. On the other hand, we do have an exciting potential, the potential for 50,000 new homes, for 20,000 new jobs in Barking and Dagenham. So there are challenges, but there are also great potential for progress in the area. One of the things we're looking at the moment is to try and attract the film studios into the area. This invariably leaves people saying, why on earth would a film studio come to Dagenham? Frankly, we have a large site, we're on the railway line, we can get into central London surprisingly quickly. We're hoping for £400 million to be invested into Barking Town Centre. Again, when I asked the investors, why are you doing that? The response was, you have a large site, it's by Barking Station, which again gets you into London quite quickly. And frankly, there's a council that's got an interested approach to regeneration. What we're also hoping to do is involve with the government for a £2 billion investment to help bury the A13 road and build a mixture of commercial and residential units above, which we believe can generate an awful lot of jobs.
To what extent do responses need to be tailored to specific groups of people?
I think you really need to be sensitive to that, both to individuals and to various groups. I think the ultimate key is to try and maximise the potential of all, not to try and do what I would say in the past was done in Barking and Dagenham, of actually limiting people's expectations. I remember a colleague, a friend of mine at school, when she went for a careers interview, being told when she said she wanted to be a doctor that people from Barking and Dagenham don't become doctors, and little girls certainly don't become doctors. Maybe you'd like to go into nursing. She's now a consultant anaesthetist. And I was able, when I got elected onto the council, to help get rid of the careers advisor, one of the good things about being a local councillor. So it really is about uplifting people's ambitions and trying to explain to people that there's a lot of potential out there, what you can do, no matter what community you come from.
How can we develop people's potential for addressing challenges in their own communities?
I think one of them is to try and give people more control over their destinies, which is extremely difficult to do, especially in a socio-economically poor area. I think one of the examples I'll touch upon later probably would be the Creative Barking and Dagenham scheme, which is partly funded by the council but mainly by the Arts Council, who recognised that there was a dearth of arts projects and very few people in Barking and Dagenham involving themselves in the arts. So with some money that they had, which was control of which was handed to the community, I, as a member of the council, occasionally have observed meetings, but more as a member of the public than as a councillor. It's been fantastic to see over 100 cultural connectors that have emerged to spread the word about being involved in arts and possibly having careers in arts as well. I think the next stage for us is to extend that into what we refer to as what is the participatory city model of trying to remove the barriers that stop people from being involved in civic society. Housing is a specific challenge. It's recognised in our Growth Commission report, No One Left Behind, that we have to try and get a mix of tenures. Traditionally, Barking and Dagenham was predominantly originally council, and now council and ex-council lost under right to buy. That's produced almost a working class monoculture. That has great strengths. It's proved it's a resilience, there's a sense of community, but it has also held us back on very many occasions. There's a lack of experience of academic work, of arts work, which I've touched on earlier, of the voluntary sector. With the decline of political parties, trade unions, and fewer people maybe going to traditional churches, there's maybe a lack of civic engagement, and so it's very important that we try and reverse that. Part of that will be working with the existing community. Partly, though, that will also be bringing in new people who can in turn help to stimulate the retail sector and the night economy.
What is your one recommendation for policymakers?
especially at this institution, it would be to just remind people that individuals live in places. I've had conversations with the Environment Agency who refers to people living in basins. My colleagues in local government always refer to people living in wards. Most ordinary people just think they live in a place. So our Vicarage Fields investment, for example, a substantial retail offer, 850 properties. It goes up to, I think, 36 stories. Once the design for what goes up in the sky is fine, and it won't be approved until we're fine with that, the important thing for me is to getting small little niches on the ground where people can have picnics, where people can meet, when people live their ordinary lives. I think all too often maybe local government in the past has had grand schemes and grand plans that have maybe forgotten the placemaking aspect. So we're trying to address that, and that's probably the one thing I'd stress more than anything else.